Okay. I'll save a couple things or so at the end though.
AI music. You probably just heard that term and either shuddered at the thought of it, or perhaps you are indifferent to it. Regardless, I believe that there are all sorts of interesting stereotype stigmas that come along with that terminology. I, for one, as someone who actually makes my own music and has been a massive music advocate and art advocate for the longest time now, am absolutely vehemently against the idea. It's almost oxymoronic. That's something that
The problem is that a lot of the software to make music in general uses a type of form of AI already, you know? Like as in like the software themselves use some aspect for them to either make your voice sound fantastically great for you to sing wonderful, or be able to create certain instrumentals pieces, you know, because at the end of the day it's like, okay, so why not just buy the instrument and just play it yourself? Well, number one, you have to learn the instrument. Number two, you have to record the instrument. And then number three, you know, not everyone has the time or so to put the time into it, so might as well just learn the software and make it a lot more easier for you and cuts the time significantly in half, you know?
is inherently human and has been inherently human for thousands and thousands of years, suddenly a robot comes up and goes, hey, but what if we, like, also did it as well? It's no surprise that I absolutely fucking hate AI music. I hate the use of AI when it comes to anything creative, but that, of course, hasn't stopped the AI music train from just chugging.
You're not gonna stop it. Nobody's going to stop it. You can't stop progression of humanity at the end of the day. That's just how it is, you know? It's here to stay whether you like it or not. You just have to accept it at this point, you know? You just can't argue against it, you know? Some people use it as their baseline for their project workflow. Some people use it a little bit too much, you know, and then some people, you know, don't use it at all. You know, there are many people who it just like at the end of the day, it's not really the tool you should be getting mad at. You should be getting mad at the person of how much the tool overtakes their entire workflow.
Along like nothing
Every
has ever
person is
happened.
different.
And this is where we come to this article that I would love to talk about with you guys, because it is pretty freaking concerning. We have a Japan Times article here that says Japan's first great AI music trend is gloriously wrong, with this picture of Hatsune Miku, who knows, is probably also AI generated as well. Well, let's read
it
the
is.
article.
You can tell immediately.
Anxiety has hung over music spaces ever since TikTok user Ghostwriter977 shared a track featuring the deep-faked voice of Canadian rapper Drake. I mean, I'm not a fan of Drake's music whatsoever, so I obviously missed this whole thing, but many fear such AI-generated songs will eventually replace human artists as they become better. Yeah, but the only people who feel that way are the people who never give a fuck about music to begin with, like Drake fans, for instance. A recent online development in Japan, though, suggests a different future for AI and music. The results are less polished, more hyperactive, and straight up gonzo.
Like I said, I've already said this before. It depends on the person's user, you know? Like I said, the tool is there, but the tool by itself isn't going to create anything. The person who's holding that tool specifically can choose to use it in the right manner or in the wrong manner. If I put a gun in front of you, is the gun going to shoot you? No. Are you going to start shooting somebody with the gun? No, because the gun isn't going to do anything. It's just going to sit there. Now, what you decide to do with the gun, that's a different story. You can either defend people with it, or you can kill people with it in a murderous intent. It's the same thing with the AI tool itself. This is why this argument falls apart immediately.
A YouTube channel named Nori Nori Core appeared at the start of May, uploading what is called Nori Nori, or the Japanese word for very upbeat, remixes of J-pop songs spanning the past 6 decades. Whether reworking 1980s cuts from Yamashita Tatsuo, who has had a massive renaissance for at least a while now, ever since the resurgence of the whole city pop movement, or 2025 tracks from rock bands like Sakanaction, who have also been on a massive freaking train. If you don't know, they just won like a bunch of awards at the Japan Music Awards. They are the shit right now, and I personally am a big fan of their music. The channel has established a consistent style built around
The
driving
person who
beats,
created it
stuttering
again is
female
the
vocals,
problem.
and EDM touches fit for
We'll
ultra.
all know that nobody will use it correctly, especially since these corpos want us to use AI every day so they can finally be profitable. See, there you go. That's the problem. You shouldn't be getting mad at the tool. You should be getting mad at the source of the problem, who holds the tool itself. You should be getting mad at the companies using these tools, because remember, the AI tool itself in the creative aspect, not in the overall realm of space of AI, in the creative bubble, talking about art itself, was created by an artist that was supposed to be sold significantly for artists. But of course, corporations, the greediness how they are, they see that opportunity and they like to get their grubby hands on it and take it for themselves. That's basically is how it is.
Music Festival. Naughty Naughty Core writes in its channel description and video about sections that it uses
It wasn't
AI,
created by some
which
tech
probably
bro. It
explains
was
why a
created by
new
an artist.
remix appears every day at 6 p.m.
It just got
You
magnified.
could gather 100 different producers into a room, and they probably still wouldn't be able to pump it out this frequently. So very obviously it is AI. At least, look, give the benefit of the doubt, at least the channel owner admits that they're using AI. They are not lying about that fact. Doesn't make the situation any better. I wouldn't necessarily say so, but exactly what software it uses, how much human input is involved, and whether the accompanying anime girl thumbnails are also AI generated, which I mentioned earlier, remain unclear.
Well, that's the problem. A lot of people have this misconstruedness. They hate the tool. They hate the tool itself, but they don't hate the person who's actually using the tool. You know, that's the problem itself. Everybody just hates AI, just hates the tool, just the tool itself, but they don't hate who's behind the tool and who's using the tool. You know, that's the difference.
The channel creator also notes that the music is managed through YouTube Content ID, and advertising revenue goes to the original rights holders. See, when I saw that, there was a part of me that went, so is this like an ethical way to use AI in music? Because, you know, I don't believe it's a whole like black and white situation when it comes to all things AI. Obviously, you know, some things are just vehemently wrong to use for AI, aka art, music, any creative works that has always you know, relied on human.
I have to disagree. Plus, also, there was an article that said that 70% in Japanese companies use AI, but they don't disclose it. We saw a video earlier today. That's the reason why. They just don't disclose it whatsoever.
Creativity and emotions and experiences and stuff. These things that a robot, no matter how good it may possibly get in the future, will never be able to replace. At the same time, they themselves are not making any music from it, apparently, because the YouTube Content ID and advertising revenue goes to the original rights holders. So my question right then and there is, then why are you doing it? Because you use AI to make these remixes, quote unquote, so there's no like creative or artistic integrity behind it, because you're literally just typing into a prompt essentially, and the robot does
This is the one thing that everyone who is like, I wouldn't say like, I guess the word is simple-minded, I guess, where they think like it's just easy, where you just put in a couple of prompts or so and you get what you want or so. It's not really like that, personally. That's just not how it works or so, you know? Like I wanted to understand how AI works and everything like that, and I did my own studies or so to see how the tool itself worked and everything, and what goes behind the scenes and everything. It's not just simple as in like, oh, generate me this, oh, generate me that or so, in like this. Not really. It's not as simple as you think it is, you know. If you know how the tool works and everything like that, then yeah, you could say it is. But the amount of things that you have to learn from it in order to get where you need to be is a whole different factor and story in and on itself. But like I said, ignorance is a bliss at the end of the day. So I don't hate you know, his take on it whatsoever, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, it's like, it's not as simple as you think it is, you know? There is some
for
thought
you,
behind of
but
it.
you're also not making money. Are you doing it for the clout? This thing is not going to get you clout. It's going to get you notoriety, like what we are talking about here today. And there's probably going to be a lot of people who will look at your channel, Naughty Naughty Remix or whatever you're called, and be like, "Bro, so why the fuck are you even doing it to begin? Are you doing it because you're bored?" I don't know. Most creative people, when they're bored, try and work on their creativity. If you're a musician and you are bored, wouldn't you think you'd take the time
Or unless you're bored or so and you come into my chat or so and try to say the N word and then I stare at you for a very long time. Like, remember, right, chat? We had people who came into my chat or so trying to say the N word in my chat, and the thing that they tell me the most, the reason why they do it is because they're bored. Okay, so either either you're doing creative things and something like a hobby and productiveness, or they just come in here and try to say the N word.
to, I don't know,
One of the
go
two.
and learn an instrument, go and learn how to produce, go and learn how to make beats on FL Studios or Ableton? In recent weeks, Japanese music fans and chronically online types have been discovering Naughty Naughty remixes, from a rework of Frederick's 1914 hit Odd Loop, good song, to a serotonin spike take on Spitz's Robinson, also a great song. The use of AI makes the channel an instant flashpoint, with which some dismissing its maximalist remixes
I'd be curious to hear. I'm not going to hear it during this VOD specifically because I know it's going to get copyright claimed and everything, but I'll take a look at it afterwards, after the VOD that we're reacting to, just to hear what it is.
soulless, and others embracing them. Most everyone, however, agrees they are tailor-made for dopagaki, which is a slang for TikTok adult kids who only enjoy non-stop dopamine hits. This is the first time I've
I
ever
see.
heard the word dopagaki.
Dopa,
Dopa being the shortened form for
dopa,
dopamine,
dopamine.
and
Yeah.
gaki being being a Japanese term meaning like snobby kid, essentially. So it's a dopamine-filled snobby kid. Yeah, that's
I
a
thought it was going to be, brain rot kids or something.
pretty fucking great way of describing TikTok kids, or just TikTok brained kids, Gen Alpha, if you will.
Dopagaki.
Those are the dopagaki. And honestly, it is absolutely not surprising at all that this kind of stuff would be made for the chronically online dopagaki, the TikTok riddled Gen Alpha, because I did actually, and they linked this one here, which is a Naughty Naughty remix of Nettaya by Rip Slime. I'm a massive fan of Rip Slime. I've got a couple of their CDs right here. I took the liberty to actually go and listen to this and a couple of other remixes of songs that are supposedly in this Naughty Naughty remix. And I'm gonna be real with you, straight up. Shit's boring. Not only is it most of the time just sped up versions of the song with maybe a couple of glitch effects and a different AI generated lead singer that sometimes butchers the words, but the one thing I don't understand especially is why it has gotten popular. Because if you are over the age of 20, if you are
Well, explain why there are some kids. Remember during the era of the Freddy Fazbear era, where they started making songs of Freddy Fazbear? Explain why the kids like that?
Gen Z millennial and you have been on the internet for the past 15, 20 years, especially been on YouTube and the anime community over the past 15 and 20 years, then you'll know that this shit has already been done. We didn't call them Naughty Naughty remixes, though.
That is true. You're not wrong. Yeah. Slowly become soulless because artists are depending on TikTok blow up. Not just TikTok, also live streamers too. Because you told me that they need like live streamers or so for them to blow. It's like the new day and age of like passing my burn CD, my mixtape basically. The problem with TikTok is that you got a few seconds to impress, so songs are being made with how TikTok works. So there would be hardly be any verses. Yeah, because like I think that's what caters to the younger audiences, the Gen Alphas and some of the Gen Zers, to be honest. So
We called them Nightcore, and I did a video many years ago on my main channel
yes,
as to why
Nightcore.
I absolutely despise the idea of Nightcore and why it is just blatant piracy, and I still stand by every single point I made in this video if you want to go check that out. So we're essentially getting a rebirth of Nightcore, but now it's not even done by people, it's done by AI. At least Nightcore was made by humans, and granted, it wasn't that difficult to make a Nightcore track, it literally was take anime song, speed it up by maybe 2 times, 2.5 times, and call it a day. Obviously, the whole Nightcore thing died after the YouTube player introduced playback speeds. Now, if you go on to, even in this video, for instance, and I'm sure some people are already doing it, if you go to the corner right here, somewhere around here, you can change the speed of the video to 0.5, or I think all the way up to 2 times speed. So essentially, the moment YouTube introduced this whole, playback speed option, it killed the Nightcore scene, because now you can literally play any song, you can play any music video here on YouTube, and if you want to turn it into a Nightcore remix, just speed it up to ×2, and boom. You didn't even have to open up a program of any sorts. You can do it directly from the YouTube feed. So I guess now they've had to kind of work around that and being like, all right, let's put a little more like editing into it. Let's put a little more remixing into it. But then all artistic integrity gets thrown out the window when you find out that, oh wait, a human didn't actually make this. It was all a robot. Until now, AI-generated music in Japan has largely been meme fodder. Viral hits like these succeeded more as internet jokes than songs. Naughty Naughty Core certainly has a memeable quality. Even Naughty Naughty Remix feels like the sort of made-up genre name the internet loves. I mean, as a music nerd, I would know there are all sorts of insane genre names that don't sound real in any way, so that's not a concern or anything. But what keeps drawing listeners back isn't the joke or ethical debates, it's the sound. Despite the Dopagaki tag, Naughty Naughty Remixes blur the boundaries between musical eras. They're fast, frantic, and occasionally derailed by AI mispronunciations, and some of the tracks that I listen to, the AI mispronunciations are very, very blatant. Some tracks that I've listened to are just not even good. Like, they're not good remixes at all. Even if they were made by a human, I'd be like, this remix is shit, or you've just ruined a perfectly good song. But listeners have also compared them to Eurobeat, rhythm game soundtracks, and the janky remix CDs once sold at Village Vanguard. While the source material spans decades, much of it comes from the headset era, tapping into nostalgia for older listeners. Okay, so immediately when I saw this particular comparison between these Naughty Naughty remixes and Eurobeat, I had to fucking put my glasses down and just be like, what are you talking about? First of all, none of these tracks, at least the ones that I have listened to, sound anything like Eurobeat. This is clearly, these kinds of comparisons.
So my question is, right, if Nightcore like truly dead, like my curiosity, right? Let me see. Like, if I type in Nightcore, is it still like relevancy to this day, or is it just completely just gone, just eviscerated from this point on? I'm like you have one from like 2 weeks ago at least. I'm like, it's not really truly dead, to be honest. Yeah, you still got wow, Jesus Christ, 674K freaking this person, Night Coordination, is definitely still doing it, to be honest. They're still kicking it, to be frankly honest. I'm kind of surprised.
Clearly from people who listened to fucking Deja Vu once and was like, oh yeah, this is what all Eurobeat must sound like. But not only that, it's the fact that they are comparing it to a genre of music that, in my opinion, is incredibly underrated and underexplored by people today and even back then. We've been seeing a massive resurgence of these kinds of Eurobeat, PS1 wave racer, speed racer types of drum and bass and house in the Japanese and also the Western gaming scene. But the problem is that
where have you heard that? I haven't heard that.
people are less willing to go and explore these musical genres because they just want everything spoon-fed to them. So it's literally the same thing as people who only listened to Nightcore back in the day and thought to themselves like, oh yeah, these songs are great, without ever actually going to go listen to the original song and the original way that the song was intended to be listened to, all the while complaining that, oh man, there's not enough Eurobeat out there, blah, 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 when really there is a lot of Eurobeat out there. You just have to go and dig for it. Sometimes the mishmash of eras and sounds can reveal less obvious sides of familiar songs. Naughty Naughty Core misses plenty, with some remixes amounting to more than sped up originals. Yeah, so basically just Nightcore. Other times it bulldozes the source material into something genuinely new. That's especially true of older rock songs like Noriyuki Makihara and Keisuke Kuwata. The problem isn't how it sounds. It's the way that it's made. Because when you go and listen to these naughty naughty remixes, it's not something that humans cannot do. If anything, a lot of these naughty naughty remixes are just shittier versions of different remixes that humans have been doing for the past 20, 30 years. I have friends who have been doing music production and DJing and remixing for the longest time, and they're able to do it because they put the time and effort into this creative process. A lot of people think that DJing and remixing and stuff like that is a very lazy way to create music. I 100% disagree. Granted, there are a lot of people who do lazy remixes, but those
He just did contradicting himself, to be honest, right there. And I'm like, yeah, but there are some remixes that are pretty lazy. Well, then.
who actually put the time and effort into creating and honing in on the craft of DJing and remixing are just as impressive, if not more impressive, than regular classical musicians on a single instrument. And this is coming from someone who, yes, can play a lot of instruments, but I don't know how to produce or remix or DJ in any way. I would love to learn. Yes, I may be shit at it, but I'm not going to make a robot do it for me just because I haven't put in the time and
Okay, so my question is, if then why don't you put in the time for it and learn for it right now? You know, what is stopping you? What is stopping you for you to learn it if you want to get into it, you know? And if you say the answer time, well then there's your answer for everybody else.
effort to learn it myself. All new technology becomes interesting when people start using it the wrong way. Generative AI art causes
Nobody has
anxiety
time
because
now
it
these
threatens to
days,
replace
to be
human work
honest.
with something merely possible
Which is
on the
kind of
surface.
saddening.
But Naughty Naughty Core stands out because it isn't trying to
I
imitate.
think personally the best time, this is my personal opinion, the best time for you to learn something, a hobby or anything like that, is when you're in school and when you're young. That is the best time for you to get into, like, you know, learning an instrument, learning how to sing, learning how to draw, learn how to do, like, just learn how to do anything overall. Because once you get older and you become an adult in general, you don't really have that much time anymore. That's usually the best time where you want to, like, learn something, like during the summertime or something like that when you're younger. For me, my criticism for Suno is that some songs will sound the same, especially the vocals. Once they solve that, it's GG's. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, of course. It'll be a while or so for them to do that, of course, because they gotta crack the thing or so. But this is my thing or so. If you want to learn how to draw or so, start it at a very young age. If you want to learn how to pick up an instrument, like any type of instrument, learn at a very young age. Do not pick it up when you're older, because I'm gonna be honest with you, you don't have that much time in the world anymore. You know, like I want to pick up my electric guitar again, but the problem is I have all this other stuff that I have to do first, get it off my plate or so, so then I can be able to have time. But the problem is like if I ever get to that point, you know, because all these things are starting to pile. Sometimes they pile up from time to time or so, and it's just kind of like gets overwhelming for me. So
It sounds wrong, excessive, and occasionally broken. That lack of smoothness associated with AI may make it one of 2026's most striking musical developments. But isn't that just so fucking depressing that this article is claiming, and all of these dopagaki and people who don't actually care about musicians, artist integrities,
I feel like there must have been a time or so where there's been like certain genres that felt like that it shouldn't be a genre itself. It feels like so insulting or something like that, or just like something like they feel towards a specific genre. I bet you there's been like stuff like that too as well. You know.
or just the artistic integrity of music in any way, are looking at this and going like, man, this is so exciting for the music world. This is so fucking new. Meanwhile, there are so many underground artists that I have found just personally on my own time that are making music that is still incredibly fresh, incredibly unique, taking a sound and doing something with it that is something wholly unique, and something that, yes, even though AI may be able to replicate it, it doesn't hit the same because it's a human that created it, just like you and I, a human being. If you want some examples, Angie
Mumble
Deploy.
rap is still hated on, and for a good reason. I bet you there are still people. I bet there are actually some people who actually like mumble rap. I wouldn't be surprised.
Latrine, who are these two French. You've
I
probably
personally
seen these
never heard
guys
of
on
any
Instagram. They
mumble
were
rap.
getting viral for a while, but like they make microtonal math music, which sounds incredibly fucking weird, but it is
Wasn't there like an
really
explosive
unique and
popularity
really
for mumble
refreshing.
rap?
And all of the comments on their videos saying like, "Oh yeah, AI will never be able to replicate this," is just testament to their creativity. If you want something on the Japanese side, for example, a band that I have been getting into a lot recently is Soko ni Naru, who are very much inspired by bands like Rin to Shite Shigure, but have so much
They look familiar. These two look familiar. Um, for a band.
more of a mathy element to it, and so much more unique sounds and styles of story writing
I
and
love me some
songwriting
mumble rap
that
here and
it makes
there.
it
See, I
wholly
told you
unique.
dubstep is
And
right
again, not to
there.
sound like a broken record, but the people who are okay with these kinds of naughty remixes or these like AI music and stuff like that,
Like, I personally don't mind AI music, personally, for me. Like, I'll listen to it from time to time, of course, you know, but not all the time, right? Because I still have my personal favorite genres that I listen to the most, which is rock, of course, you know, so.
they never give a fuck about music. They will claim that they like listening to music, but you could literally put anything on and they'll be okay as long as it's entering their ear canal and making their head bob up and down. It's like trying to get a dog to appreciate a painting, you know, like they can see it, but they don't actually give a fuck about it. It's just another thing that's in the room. So yeah, obviously, I will continue to stand by the sentiment, fuck AI music, fuck AI used in any kind of creative endeavor, and if you actually give a fuck about music and you care about music and the art behind it, then go and support musicians. Go and support.
Well, to be frankly honest, all of the like the programs they use or so to edit music uses some way, shape, or form of AI. Let me see here. Let me let's take a gander look, shall we? Just to kind of like, you know, understand, right? There's a conspiracy theory that once the you said money ran out, rap didn't get to the top of the charts anymore. Yeah, there was the lyricist fans hated the mumble rap era. Plus, I ain't going to lie, I will also get jiggy to what I call ignorance music. Ignorance music. That's interesting. So yes, in fact, AI has already used throughout modern music production. Even if the software doesn't advertise it as AI, many DAWs, digital audio workstations, and VST plugins have been using machine learning and AI techniques for years, and the trend has accelerated significantly over the last 2 to 3 years. So you know, AI can remove background noises, reduce echo rooms, detect breathing and clicking, automatically tune vocals, separate vocals from instrumentals, Isotope RX, Steinberg's, Waves Clarity, Adobe Enhance. Mixing AI can analyze your mix and suggest automatically apply EQ, compression, stereo width, balance between, reverb levels. Examples, you have Isotopes, Sonabil, and then you have composition. AI can help write chord progression, melodies, drum grooves, bass lines, and lyrics. And this is what you have specifically here. Drum generation. AI can generate realistic drum performances, create fills, humanize timing and velocity, match the style of the genre, sound design. Some synths and plugins use AI, generate presets from text prompts, morphing sounds intelligently, find similar presets, recommend sound based on your project. This saves a lot of time compared to the manual browsing thousands of presets. Mastering. One of the earliest widespread uses of AI in music production, which is AI mastering services itself, which is analyzing loudness, balance frequencies, optimize dynamics, prepare tracks for streaming. Examples, LandDR, Ozone, eMastered, Voice AI, now becoming very common. AI can clone voices with permission, generate harmonies, change single styles, convert speech into singing, translate vocals while preserving the original voice. AI inside DAWs. Even the DAWs themselves are beginning to integrate AI assistants. For example, FL Studios of 2026 includes Gopher, the AI assistant that can modify track levels and adjust plugin parameters, build drum patterns, and help automate repetitive productions tasks directly inside the DAW. New AI focused DAWs such as the TuneFlow combines traditional recording and editing with AI tools for composition, drum generation, and stem separation and lyric writing. What AI doesn't replace is, despite the advances of AI, still struggles with the part of the to make music uniquely human is the emotional storytelling, the creative direction, the genre specific taste, the musical identity, and then the final artistic decision. Professional producers often use AI as an assistant, not in a replacement. AI handles repetitive or technical tasks while the producer decides what sounds best. Researchers on professional engineers has found that they value AI primarily for speeding up the workflow while maintaining creative control. And there you go. And that's basically it. So for those who don't know, yeah, it has already been there for quite some time. So that's why I personally just like disagree on a lot of his takes personally. And like I said, when somebody who doesn't know that much knowledge in general, you kind of have to look it up yourself, you know? I remember when autotune, when people used to hate autotune. Yes, that was during a time or two as well when people started hating autotune on top of that.
Local
So
artists, go and support local bands, buy their CDs, buy their vinyls. I think that's the only way that real musicians can keep their head above this never-endingly filling up pool of AI music. And again, much like the whole Nightcore movement, this whole naughty core movement, I guess, Nightcore movement 2.0, it's just a glorified way of stealing other people's music and trying to make something out of it, regardless of if you're making any money out of it whatsoever. But yeah, I just wanted to
the
talk about.
problem is that it falls into transformative, it's very transformative at the end of the day. So even whether you like it or not, it's transformative. So you can't really argue against it at the end of the day. Just like the same thing as what I'm doing here. I'm making the video very transformative as much as I can while we talk about certain aspects. Are there certain videos that I don't know about a certain topic? Yeah, of course. I want to learn about it, of course. And then we talk about it at the very end of the video to be like, okay, what do I think about this? What do I think about that? And blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of like basically it. But when it comes to other certain subjects like this specific topic in general, like I've had friends who make music and everything like that, and they even understand and they know that they have AI in their program stuff. Even though I have certain individuals that I know of are against the AI stuff, but yet they're a hypocrite because they used AI for their cover song, for the cover of one of a couple of their songs, and then also on top of that they used the programs with AI in it to make their workflow better and faster. So that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't know, kind of a bit of a hypocrite, but that's just me anyways though. But I digress anyways. So the people who hate AI in general is just kind of like, it's just whatever, you know? Yeah, you have to adapt in the music industry at the end of the day, or else you'll get left behind. That's just how it is. It's a very cutthroat industry. It's the same thing with art in general. It's very cutthroat too as well. If you don't use the newest stuff or the newest shit, to get the edge over other people or over other artists in general, or get ahead of the curve of certain trends and stuff like that, you're just gonna be left behind, and that's it. So that's just how it works. That's just how the world works, unfortunately, and that's just how it is. So you can't argue against that. You're just gonna have to like, well, I get it. I hate it though. That's my personal opinion, which is fine. You can say that, but that's just how the world works, unfortunately. So, but anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe to all that fancy jazzy stuff. Pretty good video, to be honest. I don't personally hate Joey or any of his opinions whatsoever. I just agree to disagree to certain parts. If we can just meet in the middle, and we can have our disagreements and our agreements on a lot of things, then that's fine by me. I don't hate anybody with their opinions on this, so it's each to their own. I'm like, it's just how it is. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.